Hello and welcome back to the CQC video tutorial series. In this video, we're going to just give a brief tour of the administrative interface. A lot of the things we'll discuss here we'll just touch on because we're going to come back and deal with them because they're subjects in and of themselves. But just to let you know what it does and what kind of information and utility you can get out of it, we'll give just a quick overview here. We've already been in the administrative interface in the tutorial so far because we've used it to load up some device drivers. But now we're just going to touch on the other bits. The control panel here we've used. Some of these things you may or may not use very often. The blanker, probably not very often used, but you can invoke it from here. This little button here will run some tests that examines the basic status of the system. So if you click that, you'll get a dialog like this, which runs some basic tests, and if you don't get a little star here, then something is wrong, and you'll get some probably diagnostic output down here in the bottom section that you can pass on to us for to help you figure out what's going on. This is just basic testing. There are other tests that go deeper, but for a quick test after you've upgraded or installed, it's generally good to run it. This one will allow you to create key mappings, and we'll touch on this a good bit more in an upcoming video where we first get into user actions. If you click that, you will get just a list of all of the currently defined users. You can map particular keystrokes to things that you want CQC to do, and this is not something commonly used, but one general use for it is to make use of hard buttons on kiosk style touchscreens, for instance. You can often map those hard buttons to a key, which the operating system will send to the application as though it were a real key on a keyboard, and you can set up CQC to react to those. And it's just an easy way for you to make use of those hard keys. And then the administrator may set up some for himself to do common functions easily from a key press. And the administrator has to do it on behalf of any non-administrative users, because you wouldn't want them to be able to do this themselves. They could do pretty much anything they wanted and destroy the system if they wanted to. This control panel icon allows you to administer your user accounts. If you click that, you'll see any defined users. Currently, we still only have the initially defined administrator. And we'll go ahead and create one just to show you what happens here. So if you press new, you have to fill in some basic information. We'll create a user account that we're going to use probably at some point later on during the tutorial, so we can go ahead and do it now. We'll call it, say, limited user. And for description, it doesn't really matter. We'll just say a limited user. And you have to give some sort of name, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it's last first, so we'll say user limited. And here you can set the user roles. These are discussed in more detail in the technical documentation on the website, but there are 4 levels, each one of which provides a little bit more access. And if you press the more button, you can get some more information. You can set which one of your created interfaces that you want this particular user to see by default when they bring up the touchscreen interface client. Often you want everyone to, or particular users to see initially a certain interface, and for limited users this is all they can do. They can't open one themselves manually. They can only see the one that you provide here and anything that it links to directly. You can enforce logon limits. This will not force them off if they're already logged on and they go outside of this time period here, but you can limit the times that they can log on. And for web access, there's a separate web password for user accounts. The reason being that the web access is often done from the outside, and therefore it's a lot more likely that if any particular password is going to get hacked in some way, it would be one that's used from remotely on the road. So if they do compromise this password, it doesn't compromise the user's actual CQC password, and generally control that is available through the web interface is far more limited than what would normally be available within the home. So just a way to hopefully help limit any sort of damage that would be caused by a breach of security through the web interface. we won't be using any of this right now. Well, we'll just give them a hello password, which we'll probably forget by the time we get to the point where we need it, but we'll enter one for now anyway. We don't have any touchscreen interfaces yet, so there's not really anything we can do here, and we'll come back to it later. So let's save that and accept, and now we have this new limited user. So let's close out of here. The next one is how you manage scheduled and triggered events, which are things that you want CQC to do at given times or in response to changes in the system. We won't get into this one now. That's a whole subject unto itself, and there'll be a separate video on that, maybe more than one. This one allows you to look at the system logs. Everything in CQC logs to a central log file, and you can look at that information, and it's generally used for post-mortem analysis after something has gone awry to see what happened, or to diagnose things as they are going wrong. You can control how many queries that you want to return. 256 is the maximum, and there are various criteria up here. Normally you can just leave them like this. If we need you to do some specific query, we'll tell you what to put in here, and you press the query button and you'll get a list of log messages, and all of these are just status type things. There's nothing going wrong. We can find that out by clicking off the status one there and do it again, and we don't get anything back. So basically all that was just status information. So we'll close out of here. You can also get to this log stuff up here, plus you can flush the logs, which you will often do if you have come to some point where you want to try something and you don't want to wade through a bunch of log messages. You can just flush the logs and do what you want to do, and then go look at the logs again, and only that stuff that has happened since you flushed it will be in there. The next one down we've already seen. This is how you administer local client drivers, and we've already done that in a previous tutorial. This one is how you would load up your user-drawn interfaces inside the administrative interface here. Normally they're viewed through a dedicated interface viewer client, but administrators can sometimes have a desire to want to monitor certain information while they're in the administrative interface, and this just allows you to open it up just like a driver, so that it's a child window within this area here, and you can just keep it open if you choose to do so. And this one we've already seen, and this is the administer server drivers, and we used this in a previous tutorial to load up our device simulator driver and the variables driver. And this one we also saw in a previous video. This is the field browser, which just provides generic manual access to the fields of all of your devices so that you can see and control them. There again, normally you wouldn't use this, but in any day-to-day sort of way, but it's good for spelunking and debugging and that kind of thing. There are also some things that are not available through the control panel, and they're available through this administer menu. This one is the server and client side management screens that we've already seen. This one is the event stuff that we touched on before, which we said we would defer because it's a thing unto itself. This is the same as the load up local user drawn templates button that we looked at in the control panel. In the accounts, you can define your users, which we've already seen, and you can also change your password, and you can define email accounts, which you can use within CQC to have it be able to send out email messages when things happen if you would like. There's a license entry here, and you can load up and you get a new license file, which happens occasionally, and you can get information about your license, which for us currently we're in the trial mode, so there's not really much to see. It says we're in trial mode, how many days we have left. There's no license components because it's not licensed yet. Whenever you need to send us the install key, you can just bring up this dialog here and press copy key, and that'll put it on the clipboard, and then you can just paste it into your email. Under settings, you can set the latitude and longitude, which we did if you remember, when we first started up the administrative interface. Before really anything can be done, that needs to be set. You could change it if you want, although normally you would not do that. That would, it's not likely you're going to suddenly be in New York today and in Bermuda tomorrow. If you do need to change it, it's recommended that after you do so, just restart all of the CQC applications, because you could confuse them. And this is the key mappings that we've already seen before. And this one allows you to import packages. Packages are a way to package up device drivers, user logic, user interfaces, which are the touchscreen interfaces, which we haven't really covered yet. So I keep mentioning those, despite the fact that they have not been described yet, and images as well. So this is a way for users to share that information, or for, in the case of professional installers, potentially to develop something on one machine, package it up, and then just import it on another machine. Oops, that was the exit. I didn't really mean to hit that, but we're basically done. There are a couple more up there, but they're obvious menu items. So we'll just leave it at that for now. I just wanted to give you a brief overview, and we'll come back and use a lot of these tools as we go through the tutorial. But this just gives you an idea of what all you can do from here. We'll see you in the next tutorial.